The purpose of this assignment is to give you the opportunity to thoroughly explore a career. Now, ideally, that career will be one that Naviance, the system, has identified as a career that would be good for you. And the way the system would do that is by all those different assessments that we've been doing throughout the marking period. It incorporates all that information, and then last week you went through and you also identified favorites. So now, if you go to careers, and we explore favorite careers and clusters, you should have a list of just plain careers. Now, you might also have, in addition, a list of clusters, and you can use the different clusters to find your way to a specific career, because keep in mind, the clusters are not, that's not a specific job. Like, you don't get a job called human services. You would get a job within that field, and it would be a more specific title. So to keep things simple, I am going to just pick one of the careers that was identified for me. And really quick, I want to point out that you can also search for careers. So if there's something that you really wanted to take a look at, you could search for a career, although I recommend that you pick one that was already given to you within the system, because all of those surveys, all that data helped choose these different careers. So I am going to go with, we'll go with a coroner. The first thing it does is it gives me an overview of what that career is. You're going to be using this because one of the first slides in your PowerPoint presentation, it asks you, what is this career? So I'm going to be able to explain what the career is. It's going to tell me knowledge and skills, things that I need to be able to do if I am a coroner. It's going to tell me tasks and activities. I'm going to look through, and this is also going to be a different slide. Especially pay attention to anything about work environment, or where you would be working, or the type of work that you would be doing. Wages. For wages, you're going to select our state, which would be Pennsylvania. And now you're going to choose the town that is closest to you. And this will be the average wage of somebody who has that job in your town. And it really makes a difference, because if you're working out in California versus working here versus working in Alabama, how much you make changes based on the state. And then it also changes based on the city that you're near. So I want you to pick the city that you're close to. And then the number you're going to use is the 90%. Use this, because what this means is that almost everybody in that field made this amount of money. It is not realistic to think that when you get out of college or your trade school or you get out of high school that you would be making as much as like the top 10% in that career. These are people who have been doing it for years and years and years and have lots of experience. The 90% would be much more realistic for somebody who is starting that career, who is just getting into it. So the number you're going to use, you're going to pick the town that you're in. So let's say that you live in Lancaster. 90% made at least $33,930. And that is the number that you will use in your PowerPoint. You can also view the hourly wage information. And again, you would do the very same thing. You would go down to Pennsylvania. And then you would go to the town that is closest to you. And you can see that you would make less if you were working near Altoona. You would certainly be making more if you were down in the Philadelphia area. But keep in mind, it is more expensive to live in the Philadelphia-Camden area versus Altoona. So it's not always a good idea to just look at this number and say, oh, I'm going to go where you make the most, because often that also comes along with the highest rent, the highest cost for food, the highest cost for services. So right now, I just want you to take a look at the 90% and use that as your reference for how much you could make in your town. So the rest of the project is just completing the PowerPoint, and I'm posting an example of this. So I want you to take a look at the example. You can model directly after it, do exactly what's in the sample, and let me know if you have any questions.